Hi, everyone. It is May 2023, and I am Carolyn Moor with the Modern Widows Club. And every month we have a new topic. This month it's going to be mothering yourself well. Okay. I've been studying something called the mother wound for many years now. You might have heard of it. This topic has a personal connection with me and my story growing up with my own mom. Mothers mold us, mothers carry us in their wombs. And, and though there are many other types of mother-child relationships, including adoptive, and we really have we emotionally form through their interactions with us. Many psychologists have attributed our sense of self to the kind of relationship that we had with our primary caretakers, which usually was mom. So how does this apply in widowhood? Well, because any kind of trauma, and losing your spouse or partner certainly applies here, we suddenly are faced with unresolved traumas that show themselves as emotions and feelings we may not have addressed from our upbringing. If any of these feelings I will mention next seem even remotely familiar, you may have a mother wound if any of these relate to you. Were you reluctant to turn to your mother for comfort or security? You doubted you had your mother's approval, so you were always trying to be perfect. You felt nervous and frightened around your mother. Your mother expected you to take care of her physically and emotionally. If any of these resonate with you, what does that mean for you now? Because in widowhood, we are faced with understanding the multitude of emotions we are actively feeling and how to manage them now. Mothering ourselves well is the answer. If any of those mother wound feelings resonated with you, I just shared, you may be experiencing some low self-esteem, a lack of emotional awareness, an inability to self-soothe in a healthy way, the feeling that warm and nurturing relationships aren't in your reach. All of this is okay to realize and maybe recognize it is happening in your widowhood journey. It's rarely spoken about, but it is something that I have seen in many widows that I have mentored. So this is why I am discussing this important topic with you this month, because we all can heal from the mother wound and learn to mother ourselves well. I am a living testimony of the results of doing so. Finding balance to heal this wound will help you release the anger, the anxiety, the resentment, and usher in the forgiveness we need to give to her and to ourselves for allowing it to reign too long in our daily lives. Here are 5 helpful tips. The first one is finding a way to express your pain. You can do this in therapy or in a community conversation or in journaling if you want more privacy. The idea is to express the pain of feeling unloved, ignored, shunned, ridiculed, or even victimized. Now, the second tip is to find a way to love yourself. The concept of self was built through the way our mother interacted with us. We need to realize the fact that our mother was unable to build our self-image in a positive way, and that was not our fault. Letting go of this less than idea image can open up a place for you to recreate your self-image, especially important in widowhood. So the third tip is to develop a self-awareness. Take the time to stop and feel your real feelings. Naming the feeling is the first step to coping with the feeling. Be aware that you may not have had the reinforcement needed to develop self-awareness before, but you can now. So the fourth tip is parent yourself. We can also learn to parent ourselves and give ourselves all the things we never received as a child. This isn't about spoiling ourselves. It's about taking care of our needs. There is greater time. There's really no greater time than now to do this. You need you. What does self-care look like to you? Ask yourself that question. It's not anyone else's idea. It's what you think self-care looks like, right? I ask women this question all the time. What is their self-care routine? You might want to do that this month and find out how different other people's self-care routines are. Get some ideas for yourself. So the fifth tip is forgiveness. I could do a whole talk on this, but forgiveness is acknowledging our own feelings and grieving over what we never got as a child, and to create an emotional space needed to move towards forgiveness. Mothering ourselves is hard work. Mothering is hard work. We don't get it right every time. And that is why it is so relatable to widowhood. We don't get to always do it right. I wish there was a perfect way to do widowhood. But what I have found is the imperfections that we find along the journey is what helps us feel like we're not alone. So, and being not alone means that you have the opportunity to connect with others who are understanding. If you're able to give forgiveness, a new relationship of mothering between you and your mother may happen, but for certain, the relationship within you, with yourself, will begin to blossom in new ways. This is the beginning of true self-empowerment. I want that for you in widowhood and in your life as you go forward. I will be writing about my own personal journey with this mother wound in my memoir. I have found it to be one of the most important elements of bringing lasting change and healing into my own widowhood life, and it wasn't easy. I now know how valuable it was processing and understanding how to mother myself well, and how instrumental it has been to becoming who I am today. It also set the trajectory of my relationships with my mom and all the women in my life, and also my daughters. This is so important for me because I know, being a grieving mother who had to work full time when my daughters were so young, that I was not even close to being the mother that I planned on being when I got married. But life threw me many, many curveballs. Yeah. And I had to maneuver through those while they watched me live with my struggles with a front row seat. Healing in widowhood, especially for young moms like myself, means I am healing in 3 ways: from my upbringing, in my widowhood, and in the future relationships with my daughters. Every day, I attempt to create a healthy mothering experience, and I hope you will too. We all can benefit from the gift of truth and honesty to choose better going forward. This may have opened up some unresolved feelings for yourself, but remember, your takeaway here is that you can choose to heal the faults and failures by knowing it's all solvable with time, with work, with repair, and with company. This is why at Modern Widows Club, we'll be discussing this all month. It may be the first time you have found a safe, comforting, and non-judgmental space to share the deep disappointments mulling around in your head and your heart that can now be shared, lessening the weight on your shoulders. Yes. I hope that you will reflect on the topic and find a way to open up and share if you're feeling any of this in the community, in our community this month. So your wisters, your widow sisters, may be going through the same thing. They may need to hear your story. So extra mothering love to you this month as you consider beginning to step into mothering yourself well while you share, all of us share our empowerment stories. Okay, so every month we have a legendary widow role model, and this month it is Florence Finch. I did not know this woman before she was introduced to me. She is a Filipina American World War II hero and war widow born in 1915. She became a member of the World War II resistance against the Japanese occupation in the Philippines. She met her husband, Charles Smith, who would be killed in action in 1942. She continued to work for the resistance between 1942 and 1944 until she was arrested. She was tortured and she was imprisoned in captivity for nearly a year in a 2-by-4-foot cell. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. She weighed 80 pounds when she was rescued by American troops. Florence became the first and only woman in the Coast Guard to be awarded the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Ribbon, authorized by President Truman. While visiting friends that Christmas, Florence met a ruggedly handsome Army sergeant named Bob Finch when they were both discharged, and they married in October of 1946. On November 7th, Florence received the Medal of Freedom, the highest recognition an American citizen can attain. And she remained in New York. They began their family with a daughter and soon added a son, happy and challenged in their work and family. They moved to Ithaca. Life changed again in 1968 when Bob died of a heart attack at age 53. Her past heroism suddenly reappeared in a 2015 letter from the commandant of the Coast Guard. They were planning to name their new Pacific headquarters building in Sand Island, Hawaii, after Florence Finch. A blog stated, of the thousands of women who have served with honor in the United States Coast Guard, one stands out for her bravery and devotion to duty. It's amazing to note that her children had never known of her roles during the war, had never learned about her awards, and all her friends and co-workers in Ithaca had never known either. Her children had not even known that she'd been married before. So they all came together and they attended the ceremony where among the cheering crowd for Florence was she was seen for the unseen hero that she was, that no one knew. She was so humbled and so such an unspoken, unknown hero. And she was buried with full military honors in 2017 at the age of 101. She's an amazing woman, Florence Finch. I hope you look her up and are inspired by her story. Okay, so this month we have our book club is reading A Heart Returned, a memoir of a 9/11 widow by Juliet Prisman. You might have just seen her at the Widow Empowerment event, virtual this last on Saturday, April 29th. She actually showed us the ring, the heart-shaped ring that was delivered to her 3 years after 9/11. But she is a Wister, and she's a family and marriage therapist now. And we were really honored to have her, but she's actually going to be speaking at also our March, our International Widows March on June 23rd in Washington, D.C. at the Capitol Hill grounds. So Julia, this is a great book. Someone's looking at it to become a movie. So great book to go ahead and read and connect with Julia. So this month, the holidays and the happenings, we always talk about those. It is Military Appreciation Month, which is awesome. And May 1st is Global Love Day, to remind humanity that anything can be achieved when we attune our minds to the frequency of unconditional love. May 4th is National Star Wars Day, and may the 4th be with you. I should have brought my little Yoda toy. Do or do not. There is no try. Yoda. So May 4th is National Day of Prayer. Please say a prayer for all the widows around the world. We certainly appreciate that. May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. May 8th is National Women's Checkup Day. It's time to schedule your checkup if you haven't had one recently. And May 11th is National Children's Mental Health Awareness Day. And May 14th is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you out there who mother anyone, whether it's a furry friend or a child or a foster child or anyone else. And you know what? Maybe it's Mother's Day for everyone, because we mother our own selves. And this month we're mothering ourselves well. Yeah. And May 15th is International Day of Families. It kind of provides an opportunity to promote awareness issues related to families and increase knowledge of the social and economic and demographic processes that are affecting them. And then May 29th is, Memorial Day already, where we remember all the men and women who have died while serving in the United States Armed Forces. So that's the happenings, and we have a few announcements. So there are a couple events coming up. June 22nd through the 24th is our Widow Empowerment event. Our big event every year is going to be in St. Louis, Missouri this year. It's time to sign up for this. You and your daughters can come. We have a whole track of guest speakers for your daughters. Last year we had 15. This year we're hoping to have even more. It's amazing 2.5 days of extraordinary speakers, resources, community. You will make lifelong friendships at this event. So please register for that. We're also going to St. Louis in July 28th, and we are doing a fundraiser baseball game between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs. We've got 500 seats reserved, and we're going to all be together. So we want you to come, or you to invite your friends from the St. Louis area or from Chicago. But we want to get together, and if we can, get as many ladies out for a wonderful event that we can just enjoy with our friends and family. Okay. So on June 23rd is International Widows Day, and we are going to be doing an International Widows March, a real march in DC at the Capitol. We'll put a link in here, but we'll literally be marching and highlighting the many issues that need to be addressed during this march for widows, not only nationally, but also internationally. We're partnering with the Global Fund for Widows. And so we have 200 spots to march, or you can join us virtually. We'll have someone doing a live of the march and of all the speakers. But this is historic. This is the first time anyone has ever done a march for widows, ever. It's just a history of time. And so we are going to go there. We'd love, love, love to have you there. So please come join us. And well, I'll be talking about this next month, but I hope you have an amazing month, mothering yourself well. I certainly am sending lots of love out to you, and I will see you online.